Hello, hello, hello. Greetings. Greetings to you and to you. Welcome to Wonderful Wednesday, every week. This is Queen Mother Speaks, and I am your host, Ella Dashanaba King, also known as Queen Mother de Nuno the First, and our co-host, Nana Adezawa, will not be in studio today, but she asked me to give you her greeting. So we are still in season 7, and we're continuing with the theme transformation, innovating, creating, liberating, and changing the paradigm. So I invite you to get very comfortable and get relaxed for this awesome show that we have for you today. And of course, this is the month of May, where we're dedicating the entire month to our elders that are 80 years plus, give or take. And yes, we will have two mothers appearing in the studio today. Okay. I invite you to hit that like button, the share button, and the comment button. I want to give a shout out to some of our guests in studio and also a shout out to some of our guests tuning in. Hello to Abimbola, Lady Mo, Ursula Anderson, Michelle, Ernestine, High Priestess Seyshot, Carmen, and Tina, all tuning in from hot Atlanta, Georgia. All right. So, right now, I'm going to let you know who we have in studio. Give our guests a chance to come in and say hello to you. This is the chance for you to say hello to the studio audience, and you can say who you are and
Well,
unmute
hello,
yourself,
everybody.
Kwaku. Did you say
Okay.
hello to the audience, Martha? Okay, right. Very well.
Hello, everybody.
Okay.
I'm quite cool.
So, very good. So, this
Okay,
is week
hello.
3. Very good. This is week 3 of our Happy Mother's Day to our Custodians of Wisdom salute. And this week we have gracing the Queen Mother Speak show, Miss Angela Carlucci of Italy, 93. She will be joining us through her grandson, but I don't want to tell all the story just yet. I also want to say hello to Kweku, who is my dear friend, and also to humanitarian and faith walker. That's none other than Mama Martha Green from Kenya. Okay. And I like to say that if this is your first time tuning into Queen Mother Speaks, thank you for being here. We know that you could be doing a lot of things, but you chose to be doing this thing. And for that, we are grateful. We want you to know that we have men and women and youth with very innovative projects and transformational work. Plus, we do special shows like we're doing today. So you just stay right there. You can go to our page, tell us who you are, where you're from, and the guests you want to see on the show. Click on facebook.com/slash Queen Mother Speaks. Once again, facebook.com/. Queen Mother Speaks. I want to say once again, thank you to all the beautiful and fabulous guests in the house. Blessings to our faithful fans. Happy birthday to all of you born in the month of May. I know of two people, singer Egusu and my niece Kathy King. From the West Coast of the United States, I want to thank all you wonderful people who are getting up so early in the morning just to tune in to Queen Mother Speaks. That would be Red, Adisa and Kwashi, Tashmia and Nyla, and they're from Los Angeles and San Francisco, California, respectively. We will be celebrating Father's Day in the month of June. So I'm asking you to go ahead and send Queen Mother bio data and 2 photos on your father, your grandfather, your uncle, your neighbor, your sister's cousin's husband's friend who are 80 years plus. We will still be hearing from our elders in the month of June, and we want to hear from the elder men. Once again, you can send that information to info.com/Queen Mother Speaks at gmail.com. I want to remind you to continue to keep safe and be alert. And don't be alert just because the government said so. Do it because you want to do it. And do it just because. We thank you for tuning into Queen Mother Speaks, a safe space for information, inspiration, and aspiration. So, what is Queen Mother Speaks? We are a community platform, okay, for wealthy conversations that matter. We do commentary to raise your insight, to inform you, to inspire you, to ignite you. Our goal is to educate you through some of the shows we have. We want you to laugh. We want to give you updates about expatriating to Africa and words on worthy events. We also do wisdom from the elders and warm, witty dialogues with our guests. And we do a boutique of quotations and verses like we'll be doing today. So, right now, we're going to go into our meditation. And our meditation is a breathing exercise. So, what I ask you to do for the meditation breathing is we're going to breathe in to the count of 8. Let me come over here. We're going to breathe in to the count of 8. Breathing in, we're going to hold it to the count of 8. And then we're going to exhale to the count of 12. We'll do it 2 times. Once again, we'll breathe in very slowly, breathing in through your nose to the count of 8. Then you're going to hold to the count of 8, and then exhale to the count of 12. Are you ready? Some people like to close their eyes. You do whatever you like to do with your eyes. We're going to start our breathing exercise right now. All right, are you ready? Let's go. Did you feel that? Okay, we're going to do it once more. Okay, you ready? Let's go. I hope you felt that. And as you well know, it was last year when we started having the Art of Living Institute on Queen Mother Speaks, and they came in and did a free breathing exercise with us. And ever since then, we've been doing breathing on the show. And we did it all throughout the pandemic, and it's allowed us to be able to relax ourselves. So I say to you, at any time that you find yourself overwhelmed, upset, mad, angry, breathe. Breathe, and that will help calm you down. And now we're going to do our reflective reading. Now, when I do this reading, I'm going to read it, right? And I want you to listen with your heart. And it's called I Am Open. I am open. I am open. I am open. The true measure of our love is determined by our willingness to open our hearts. We open our hearts by being present and gentle, by not jumping to conclusions and judgments, by telling the truth, even when we feel vulnerable and scared, instead of becoming defensive. Being spiritual does not mean that we will not experience uncomfortable emotions. In fact, the more we're open, the more present to our emotions that are both negative and positive we become. Being open makes room for deep love and connection. I am open to love and deep connection. I'm open to being an answered prayer for myself and others. I open my heart and my soul, and I allow life to just flow through me. My heart is open, and an open heart is my anchor. My open heart is my redeemer, and it's my way shower. It heals the illusions of separation. It restores me. I can attract more good, and my awareness and my openness deepens. Thank you, power in me, as me, through me, around me, through the Christ within, and so it is. That is taken from Daily Thoughts from the Hill, which is Hillside International Truth Center, Atlanta, Georgia, USA. All right. Thank you for tuning in with us for that. And right now we're going to go to our guest in the studio. We're going to start out with Miss Martha, who's in the studio today. Okay. She started her mission trip back in July of 1992. And her first trip was to Belize, Central America, as a member of a vacation Bible school team. Now, as a member of that team, she got a chance to make that trip. I know that was exciting for you, Missionary Green. So, from the years of 1995 to 1999, she led teams to Belize until God called her to come to Africa. And guess where he called her to? A place called Kenya, located in East Africa. She didn't know anyone in Kenya. She stepped out on faith to rescue orphans and street children around Nairobi, Thika, and Juja. These are particular towns here in Kenya. And she started this mission somewhere around April 2000. Miss Martha has rescued more than
Yes.
3,000 such children. Can you believe that? Wow. She continues to provide housing, 3 meals a day, medical care, and education for these orphans referred to her by the Children's Office and the Children's Court here in Kenya. All right. She does have a website. I want you to write that down. But before I give you that, I want you to know that right now she's housing 25 children. And for each of those children, she's providing 3 square meals a day with the medical care and education. So if you want to reach Miss Martha, if you want to support her efforts of working with orphans and vulnerable children, you can do that by going to www.zionoutreach.org. Once again, www.zion, Z-I-O-N, outreach.org. Okay, and when you get to the site, you'll see that there is a donation button. And we thank you for everything that you're going to do to support the Christian Hands Children's Home, where Miss Martha is heading it up. So, hello, Miss Martha, and welcome to
Hi.
Queen Mother Speak. So now,
Thank
my
you.
first question is, what led you to start on this missionary journey?
When I came in the first time in 1996 to attend a pastor's conference, and at the
Hmm.
end of the conference, a little girl, about 8 years old, came and put her hand in mine. And when I looked down at her face, she had a huge smile on her face. But her
Hmm.
sweater was so tattered and torn, it was hanging off of her. Then her shoes were no longer shoes, they were slippers. And so that
Mm.
led me back to whatever God wanted me to do. That was my
Mm.
first call, is to help as
Hmm.
many of those children I possibly can. I needed to make a difference. And so God
Hmm.
honored that.
Okay, and brought you to Kenya. Now, I noticed that you say when you came here, you didn't know anybody, no friends, no relatives, just Kenya.
Correct.
So, what was that
The
like when you
first,
stepped off the plane?
well, I had already set up a hotel in Thika. But when I left
Okay.
the hotel room, I had to find my way. And the first person I met was a bishop. And so when I told him
Ah,
my story and told him why I was here, he began to connect me with different people who were also working with street children, but they didn't have
okay.
anywhere for them to stay.
Okay. 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 Hmm. Interesting. Isn't that something that you coming to a place where you've never been before and you did that on faith. You jumped in the
Yeah,
water and you just did that on faith and once you made that move, things began to happen. Wow. When
correct.
I first came to Kenya, I was just like you. I did not know a soul. But I came here through the educational system, okay,
Hmm.
to work in the Kenyan government. And they placed me in what's called a parasital. A parasital is an organization that's actually owned by the government. And at that parasital, and they work with high school principals and teachers, and they wanted me to train them on how to turn their schools into a profit making center. Okay. And I came
Okay.
here pretty much like you as a
Hmm.
volunteer to do that work. And I was assigned to that school for about, to that center for about 2 years. And then after that, a university by the name of USIU heard that I was in the country and recruited me to come and teach over at the university. So that's what got me into Kenya. But back to your story, Missionary Green, what was life like growing up, and where did you grow up? Tell us something about your siblings, your schooling, and your hobbies.
I grew up actually in a very small town called Giddings, Texas, which is about
Okay.
56 miles from Austin, Texas. And then at
Okay.
14, my father moved the whole family to Austin. And so that's why I'm from Austin now. But
Okay.
it was like an eye opening experience because it was very different than what we were used to. And coming to Kenya, I really had to deal with a few things.
Mm.
Um, but we're not going to go into all of those things. Uh,
Okay.
you know, making the adjustment was an adventure in itself.
I can bet.
But God kept me, He's kept me safe 20 years.
Mm.
And so
Oh,
I've been
that's
doing
wonderful.
this. I didn't start this work just then. I've been doing it most of my life because I
Okay.
asked God to give me a giving heart. And when He
Hmm.
did, I was about 30 years old. I haven't been able to cut it off.
I
So I,
understand. I
yeah, so I needed a
understand.
place to give.
Well, what were some of your hobbies back then, growing up?
Some of my what?
Hobbies. Hobbies. What were
I'm
things you
not.
liked to do growing up? HOBBY. Hobby.
Oh, when I was a child, my mother made all of my clothes,
Okay.
and I would ask her, "Mommy, teach me how to do that. Show me how to make the dress." And she said, I don't have time to do that because I have 6 children to look after. So
Wow.
when I reached junior high school, and had a choice to make, either
Hmm.
cooking or sewing. So I learned how to
Hmm.
sew. So
I
I've been making,
see.
yeah. So I go shopping and I see a $200 outfit that I know I could not afford, then I would go home and make that outfit. So
Okay.
my hobby is sewing. So now I do
Okay.
doll clothes.
Okay. Okay. We're going to get to that in just a moment. I want to switch the conversation slightly. I don't want to ask you, what do you remember most about your parents and what did they do for a living?
The most I remember about my parents is that my parents were married 57 years.
Ooh.
During that 57 years, I never heard a talk of separation. I never heard a talk of divorce. I never heard anything that would bring them apart and put the children against each other. And I think
Mm.
that was such a blessing because there's so few people that you can see now that
Hmm.
57 years is not an option.
Wow.
But I was
Wow.
blessed with that.
That is so wonderful. We're getting a shout out in the chat room from Abimbola out of Atlanta, Georgia. She says, blessings and peace to you. All right. Do you remember your very first job?
My first job
Hmm.
was at 17, and I was a um, oyster shucker in
Mm.
one of the major hotels in Austin. I would go
Hmm.
in the evening, and I would open up oysters and do whatever was necessary to clean them. Then they moved me over to cleaning shrimp. So my thing was I needed a job. I wanted a job, and I intended to keep it as long as I possibly could. That was the first
Hmm.
thing I learned about working. You take what you can get and you make the most out of it.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Okay, very well. And that is so true in many many instances. But I'll tell you, I used to didn't understand how people could have a job and they worked on that job for many years and they didn't like that job, because I've never had a job that I didn't like. So I couldn't
Mm-hmm.
imagine how you could work and really not like your job. But as I grew older and wiser, I came to understand that some people, like you're saying, they just have to take what
Exactly.
they can get until they can do
Mm-hmm.
better. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Who are some of the people who influence you the most in your life?
I didn't hear you.
Who's some of the people who influenced you the most in your life? Who
You
influenced
know,
you?
I, I have to be realistic. I'm from the era of breaking in civil rights,
Hmm.
and I remember my father walking with my father around the federal building for I don't know how many times, but we did that. I remember that vividly. Then I remember walking 2 miles from the state capitol in Austin because of civil rights. And so
Hmm.
to know that um, it hasn't moved as quickly as we think it should,
Mm.
it kind of hurts,
Mm.
but we have to keep pressing anyway.
Hmm. May I ask what was happening in Austin at that time when the civil rights was big in your life?
Hmm. It was.
What was happening where you had to walk around the building?
Well, Texas is in the South. A
Yeah.
lot of the South issues found its way in. And so the same issues that you found in Alabama, in Mississippi, that's what sparked our marching.
Uh-huh. Okay. Okay, very well. And you may not know, but my family is from Birmingham, Alabama. Okay. And as a young
Hmm.
girl, I also grew up during the civil rights era, and everything was really
Hmm.
about civil rights. What all we could
Hmm.
do as a people to free ourselves from the chains of slavery, from the chains of segregation, and things of that nature. I've got one last
Exactly.
question for you, but
Hmm.
before we go there, I want to talk about what I see behind you. I see a baby doll behind you. Talk to us about the baby doll.
Oh, these baby dolls are new. But for my love, I have a in my house that's 65 years old. And every time I bring her out, somebody wants to buy her. So I leave her at home a lot. But this is
Ah,
trying to get the average Kenyan parent to realize that they can purchase a baby doll that looks like them. We call it our shades of
okay,
brown, from light brown to very dark brown, meaning you can pick
okay.
out a doll that's almost the color as your child, and that teaches them that they are just as beautiful as any white doll that's put on the market. And they shouldn't be made
Mm,
to take in a white doll because it's the only thing available. These dolls are available
hmm.
on the market where you buy those dolls. But for some
Okay,
reason in Kenya, they're not readily available. And so I decided that since donors come and go, then I will open a shop that will provide these dolls for them. And they're beginning to take off. People are really liking
okay.
what they're seeing.
Well, I have certainly seen those dolls off and on over the years myself. And as you know, we've been involved in one project where the dolls were concerned. And it's interesting about you and dolls. At one point in my life, I was in the sales and marketing industry. And there's a company in America called Kmart. At the time, they were the number one retailer, and Kmart allowed me to put a line of black dolls that I was selling at the time into their stores. And they had 3,100 stores globally. Okay. They had about, I think maybe 2,800 stores they had in America. and the other stores they had in the Caribbean and other areas. But they allowed me to put my doll in their store, and that was the first time. And this doll stood about 3 feet
Mhm.
tall, okay? And they
Yeah.
went like wildfire. And it was a woman who made the
Mhm.
dolls. I was just a sales rep for the doll. And that's how I got to know about it. But my last question to
Mhm.
you is simply this: what words of wisdom do you want to pass on today? What words of wisdom would you like to
Well,
pass on?
I teach my children in the mornings and in the evenings that lying, cheating, and stealing has no place in God's kingdom, in our homes, in our schools, or our lives. And I insist that they live like that. And so my biggest
Ah,
problem now is just trying to make the government accept that. Like at the schools, they have to stand on that. And if they don't
mhm.
start, then it won't get started.
Mm, mm. Well, I thank you so very much for visiting with us on Queen Mother Speaks. I'm sure we'll have you back again when we are doing a project with those baby dolls. Queen Mother Speaks anniversary is
Okay.
coming up in the month of July, and we're trying to figure out some of the things we want to do, but perhaps we could have some of those baby dolls on auction or something. I don't know. My mind is just kind of stirring up a little bit
That's
at this
very
point.
possible.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
Yes,
And
it's very
again,
possible.
hello to Esther Hall. Oh, Esther Hall says one other thing is cheating. That's another one. She's saying that has to be added to your list, Missionary Martha. She says cheating has to be added to that list of lying,
Uh-huh.
killing, and stealing. She
No, it
said,
is lying, cheating, and stealing.
okay, very well,
It
very well.
is.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And so now we're going to turn to our other guests in the house, and we're making good time. It's only just a little bit before half past the hour. But I want to welcome Nico to the studio. I'm just going to show him out right there, put him in the studio. And I just got a couple of questions for you. Welcome
Hello,
to the Queen
everybody,
Mother
first of
Speak
all.
Show. And tell us a little bit about yourself and how you heard about this Mother's Day celebration.
Okay, so my name is Nico Riccardi. I am from Italy, but I live in Switzerland with Kwaku. And basically, Kwaku told me about this. And so that's
Okay.
how we decided to interview my grandma, who unluckily lately has been getting more sick than usual. So we
Mm,
how that will be evolving.
okay. And also, I want to bring uh, Kweku front and center on the screen. Kweku, I am delighted. I am delighted to have you here. And let's tell the audience how we met.
Hmm. How did we meet that? I think we met through Darcy
Do you
actually.
remember?
Do you remember uh, the exact circumstance? Because I came to your apartment, stayed with you for a bit of time, fed
Yeah.
you some sweet potato squash,
Amazing.
sweet potato squash. Uh, what is it? Coconut milk soup with lentils,
Hmm.
and
And why did you come to Kenya?
so I came to Kenya because I was interested in learning about development.
Hmm.
And so we met at the tail end of a field studies program during my
Look, your
undergrad,
glasses.
and then I
Hmm.
had did a bit of an internship in Machakos, about 1 hour southeast of Nairobi, and then
Hmm.
at the tail end of that, I came and spent a few days with you. That was in 2014.
Yes, yes. All right. So what happened is I told Kweku about the elder celebration on Queen Mother Speaks. And so what Kweku did, he reached out to his beloved friend Nico. And that's how Nico learned about, okay, the Queen Mother Speak show. And from there, we got to learn about Grandma Angela, and the rest of everything is history. And we're going to get ready to go into our interview in just a moment. But what I want you to know is that Nico made a pilgrimage from Milan to the countryside where his grandmama lived, and he asked her a few questions for our interview. So, ladies and gentlemen, Nico, we're going to get started, but I want you to know that she was not well, but she still allowed him to come and interview with her for these questions that we're about to give you in terms of what she has to say as being our elder. Thank you, Kweku. Okay, so now one thing I'll say, which I've said earlier, is that I learned one of my very first Italian word is a word that's called pizza. I think many of us got that one down. But I also learned from Nico about lanana. Lanana. And lanana is an Italian word for granny or grandmother. So that's how he calls her. That and so does Kweku call her by the same name. Her real name, named from her birth, is Angela Carlucci, and she's a beautiful woman. But he calls her Lanana. And so, tell us, where did she grow up?
Mr. Speaker. So, grandma, I think maybe it's also in the recording, but grandma grew up in Bari, which is in southeast Italy. It's basically, if you think of Italy as a boot, that's pretty much where the heel would be. And when she was growing up, there was the war. And then later on, with my grandfather, they moved to Venezuela. And then, no, actually, I'm mistaken. They moved first to Milan, which is in northern Italy. Then they moved to Venezuela, and then since things were not going the best in Venezuela, at some point they moved back to Milan, which is where my mom was raised after she was 6, and most of my family has been for.
Okay, I hear this somewhere. There's a radio. Somewhere there's a radio.
It is
and I'm
not
going to
us.
ask you, huh? I'm going to ask
It's
whoever
not
has.
me.
Okay, whoever's got that radio in the background, I'm going to ask you to kindly turn it off because it is making a difference with us.
And or just mute yourself when you're not speaking. Whoever has it.
Yeah. Yeah. So we want to ask you, and remember, everybody, this is his grandmother answering these questions. So how did her parents meet? How did grandmother's parents meet?
Okay. I thought we were gonna play the recording. I was not ready to redo it, but I get the file.
Oh, yeah. I've been having some issues here with the computer.
Yeah.
But I remember it was just it was the father's. Something was happening with. Yeah.
Yeah, they met at a party. Which is basically how people would meet back in the day. Basically there was a party of a neighbor of my grandma's. Of my. Yeah, there was no. It was also a party, but I don't think it was a neighbor. Sorry, I'm mixing things up. And basically they met there, and then my great grandfather basically they eloped together away right after that, and that's actually why they had to marry at 6 a.m. A few days after to basically. Because people were not supposed to know or to see that there was a marriage of somebody that was already together. You were supposed to be there for a while in this fiançage kind of like status.
Okay, and if I recall, if I may, for you, that they got married. It was somewhere around the 16th of April, and then by the 5th of May or somewhere along there, they got married because. During that day, I mean, obviously they were in love. And during that day, you just had to do the right thing. It couldn't be like it is today. The girl's walking around pregnant, showing her stomach. I mean, some of them even have outfits today where the stomach is wide open. Oh, no.
Yeah, they met on the 16th of April.
Yeah. Okay.
And on the 5th of May, they got married.
Yeah. And you had mentioned they got married in a on a town hall church, and it was very early in the morning, so that it was like a private thing. And then almost about 9 months or so later, what happened?
Oh yeah, basically 9 months after the earlier their first kid was born, which is my
Okay.
grandma's brother Pepino. And yeah, like
Okay.
on the 9th of January, pretty much 9 months after.
Okay. So you see, ladies and gentlemen, in the early years, if a man got a woman pregnant, he just went ahead and did what we call the right thing. And the right thing was getting married instead of letting her bear a child without being under the name of the father. What was grandmother's first job, if you remember that? Seems like it was out
Yeah,
of
so actually,
school.
I'm gonna read from the script of the interview that I did. I asked her, "What was your
Okay.
first job?" My first job was at school, and I said, "Okay, so you were a teacher. So you did first you did the contest, and then I said, but wait, did you not work before as well? Were you not a tailor?" And my grandma said, "No, no, no, that was just something I knew how to do." And so I
Hmm.
said, like, yeah, like let's say on the side, like as a side job, but that's still a job, however. And my grandma tells me, but I didn't work for others. I just make my own clothes. I get the fabric
Hmm.
and make them. I learn by myself. My mother was a tailor, so my mom would be sewing, and I'd look, and I liked it. And we were not really rich. So when I'd say what I wanted, that I wanted a new dress, my mom, who was clever, and I said, would make it for you. And my grandma's like, no, 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 no. She'd buy the fabric and say, there you go, make it.
Ha! Look at that difference between Martha, who was in a family of many children, and she liked sewing. And when she saw her mother was a seamstress too. So when she would ask her mother, this is Missionary Green, her story. When she would ask her mother to make something for her mother said it was so many of you, she couldn't get around to it. So Martha had to literally wait until she got to school, and when they had classes in sewing or cooking, she took on the sewing classes. So isn't that something? The difference between what happened in her family around sewing and what happened in your family also around sewing. Okay, so another question that we asked uh, Grandma Angela Carlucci was this: if she could go back to any age, what age would she pick? And how did she respond?
Yeah, I'm finding that one because I remember
Okay.
asking it.
And
um, where can I find it?
it's
Uh,
okay. He and I have had a taped interview that we were going to
yeah, I
play
remember
today,
she
but
said not when I was young, not when I was little, because they
yeah,
had the war, so they really
yeah.
struggled. Um, and so that's she said that she really it was really hard during the war. Um, and actually, it's like the war nowadays, right? She really
Mhm.
was a bit shocked by seeing the things that happened. That are happening nowadays. Um,
You mean the
and
Ukraine
basically then
war?
she said probably after she had her kids, because also
Okay.
before having kids she did a lot of sacrifices, so when she was around 35 and
Hmm.
she had her kids.
Hmm. Okay. And that's what she referred to as that's the age she would pick to go back to.
Yes,
Okay,
exactly.
so here's another question that we asked Grandma Angela Colucci that in her opinion, what was the most interesting or rewarding aspects of growing up and growing older? And what did she respond?
Yeah, she told me, when you grow up and older you learn, but you figure it out too late. In fact,
Hmm.
and so I told her that also what we asked was like, okay, is it perhaps a life of knowledge and wisdom? And my grandma said, when you remain alone, you start thinking, and then a lot of stuff comes to your mind, and you understand things better.
Hmm. Wow, wow, and that's wisdom for you right there, to even to be able to say that. We asked Grandma Angela Colucci another question, and we said to her, "What are some of the most important lessons you've learned in your life?" And she responded,
That one should never stay silent. One has to speak up and at the right moment, because doing it afterwards does not help. And one may have sometimes even to make their opinion prevail. I have always done how others wanted and then felt uncomfortable with it.
Now, check this out, ladies and gentlemen. This is a woman, 93 years old. And when asked what's one of the most important lessons, is she not right on the front line of being a radical woman? Is she not right on the front line? Because she's saying that, first off, women should not stay silent, that they should speak up and that they should speak out. And in various countries and in various cultures, they handle that quite differently. But when asked the question of grandma, what is it that was the most important lesson you learned? And she said that we should never stay silent. When I read that, when I got that information from her interview, it gave me chills. It gave me chills. So, one of the things I've done, ladies and gentlemen, is I have put this quote that she made on a flyer, if you will, and I'll be reminding you of that throughout the year. Queen Mother's going to continue to be quoting grandma, Miss Angela Carlucci. That statement is so profound. And even when we do things in the world of women, I'm going to be taking that statement forward. So, Nico, be sure you tell her that I want to use that statement to empower young girls and women. And I'm also going to send it to Missionary Martha for the young people she's working with. So we asked her another question, which was, what does she think, who influenced her the most in her life?
And she tells me, well, I have to tell you that when I was a little girl, I had girlfriends. But then definitely did not have that influence. A person that certainly definitely influenced me, but negatively, was my husband. I did not have anybody else. I could never have a friend. There was no way. He was influencing me, and I've always been quiet. Perhaps I'll tell you more another time. Because in the past, men would say, I'm the man. You have to do as I say. It is not right. Women have always been subdued by men back then. This is why now women are revolting and their husbands kill them. And it is not right. Women have their rights.
Wow. Can you hear this voice of this 93-year-old woman saying this? I've not been to Italy before, but if I show up, she is one of the people that I want to get a chance to look at, because in hearing her, again, another quote, things out of her mouth, just like with Missionary Green, are so profound until I'm going to use them. She said, women have their rights. Women have their rights. And even though she was being quiet a lot and respectful, if you will, of the husband, she felt like women have been being subdued. And she actually made that statement to us. Is that well? Is that wonderful? So now we had a final question to ask her. But before I go to the final question, she actually shared with us a piece of music that she loves, that I have not been able to get placed into the stream. So I'm going to apologize for that. But I know that I can play that music at whatever point I get it in the stream. I can play it because I wanted to start this broadcast with that song, and then I wanted to play it in between, and then I wanted to end this broadcast also with that song. So the fact that we don't have the song right now is not good, but it's not bad. Because as long as we have the broadcast, we can always play the song. And as I'm saying, Queen Mother Speaks anniversary is coming up in the month of July. I think I'll have a technician in place by then, and we'll be able to make some of these things happen for real, for real, for real. Now, Nico, I want to go back to that final question, which is what advice, grandmother, would you pass on to others?
To speak up at the right moment, not to be silenced and say their opinions. If it works, great. Otherwise, a solution will be found. Don't be quiet. I was always quiet. Even as a kid, they'd call me the kid that never speaks.
Hmm. So she's giving us the point again, ladies and gentlemen. Now remember, this part of the show where Queen Mother speaks is when we are hearing words of wisdom, pearls along the way from our elders. And Grandma is telling us, ladies, you're in the right place, you're in the right space, and you must speak up. You must speak out. Because she said here, if you
Mm-hmm.
don't, she
Mm-hmm.
said, a solution may not be found. So she's telling us here today at 93 years old, she's telling us to speak up and to speak out. We just happen here in the land of Kenya, we just happen to be
Mm-hmm.
inside of our election, which is going to happen in August
Mm-hmm.
2022. And Queen Mother Speaks has a second show that we're doing now that's called Bonga Dada Bonga. And that means speak, sisters, speak. And that entire show is a woman's platform where the women are coming forward and they're telling us who they are, what their platform is, and what difference they intend to make in the community in which they now live and where they also plan to serve. So, again, as I'm speaking into that group, I will once again, Nico and Kwaku, be carrying over some of these statements that have been made by Grandma. So you let her know that her
Mm-hmm.
words are going to live on. And Nico, please also let your mother know that these words are going to live on.
That's right.
Okay. We thank you. We thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I just want to make mention of some things that's going to be happening on the show. Nana, who did an Underground Railroad tour in Dallas, Texas, is going to be talking to us about that tour in August. Now, for those of you who don't know what the Underground Railroad is, I'm not going to give you a lesson on it right now, but keep tuning into Queen Mother Speaks. All right. And you'll get to find out what that's all about. I want to give credence to the Soul Vegetarian Restaurant right here in Nairobi, Kenya. You can actually have a vegetarian pizza and you don't even know it ain't got no meat on it. But if you want to find out for yourself, 0742 654 810 to find out about Soul Vegetarian Restaurant. And Lucille's Kitchen
Mm-hmm.
is a place where they make sweet things. If it's sweets that you want to eat, you got to go to Lucille's Kitchen. And I will say to you, bar none, for those of us living in Kenya, Lucille's Kitchen makes the number one sweet potato pie. Sweet potato pie. So if you're in Kenya and you want a sweet potato pie, you need to give Lucille's Kitchen a call. That's at 0732 567 327. Once again, 0732 567 327. As we said earlier, Bonga Dada Bonga, you can catch it live tomorrow, Thursday, May 19th at 7 p.m. East Africa time. And it's interesting, a lot of the young women running for office, there's a lot of young women that are running. And for the first time in history, yesterday, Kenya made history. And the history that they made is one of the gentlemen running for president has named his vice president as a woman. That's never happened before in the history of this country. So we're going to be in for some great things happening from here. Brother Atur, who will be giving Hebrew lessons classes, he will give a free 1 hour session. He postponed the class from this week, but we'll be letting you know when the Hebrew classes will be starting again. So more later on that. Ambassador Aisha Dafala, right here in Nairobi, Kenya, is asking me to make a plea to you for Kenya's blood bank. She said, please go to the nearest blood bank and donate because the blood banks in Kenya are running dry. And the only way you have blood is by donating. Please go and donate. Once again, if you have male elders in your life that are 80 years plus, get in touch with us and send information for our Father's Day programming. We want you to send a bio, okay, and 2 photographs to Queen Mother's info.queenmotherspeaks@gmail.com. info.queenmotherspeaks@gmail.com. Missionary Martha, give us your website again. Can you hear us, Missionary Martha? Okay, I don't know if she can hear us, but let me find it and give it to you. Okay, it is Zion Outreach 2013 at gmail.com. If you want to donate to the children, the vulnerable children, and the orphans that Missionary Martha Green is working with, you can do that through Zion Outreach 2013 at gmail.com. All right, you've heard me mention a few times about Queen Mother Speaks Anniversary Project. Yes, it is coming up in the month of July. And one of the things we want to do, in addition to putting some of those baby dolls on auction, we want to get involved with the Ahadi, listen to this, reusable pads. Ahadi reusable pads. Did you know that half of the young girls in Kenya don't go to school when they're having a cycle? And when you miss too many days in school, you automatically what? Fail. So somebody came up with the idea of creating a reusable pad. We'll be talking about that more and more. And Queen Mother wants to donate those pads to 3 different villages. More to come on that. Over the next 7 weeks, we'll be bringing you innovative, liberating, and transformative work from creative men and women across the globe. So please stay tuned to Queen Mother Speaks and be informed. That's every Wednesday, every week, live at 5 p.m. Go to facebook.com Queen Mother Speaks to watch this show. If you did not get to tune in, you can actually listen to the show later just by going to facebook.com/Queen Mother Speaks. Next week on the Queen Mother Speaks show, from Bermuda to New York City, to the Green Mountains of Vermont and all over California, to the sacred land of Israel, we will bring you Shahara Bat Israel, a very powerful woman. And fortunate for me, I actually was able to meet her at one point when I spent some time in Israel. And then from the Ashanti region of Ghana, in the Bonahafu village in Ghana, I kid you not, stay tuned. Next week, we will have a mother, 133 years young. 133 years young. She's still walking, talking, eating, spitting. Yes, we're going to meet Mama Dorma. Okay, from the and she's Ashanti. We got to meet her next week. I really don't know anybody 133 years old. Do you? So we're going to meet her next week, and I'm thrilled to say that she's walking and talking. She can see. She can still hear. Wow. Look what we have to look forward to. Can you imagine 133? My Lord, I don't know anyone ever that's made it to that age. We want to take a moment to give credits to the Wakanda crowns that we wear from the Wilborn Sisters Designs out of Atlanta, Georgia. Our jewelry is from the village of Achiavi in the Volta region of Ghana. Our fashions are usually Ghana designers, USA designers, and Kenya designers. Our inspirational verse is from Hillside Chapel and Truth Center, Atlanta, Georgia. Our virtual room is supported by Street Code and, of course, StreamYard. We want to thank our co-host, Nana Afua, who's not with us today, the Talila Report by Mrs. Elizabeth Myers, the Sankofa Elders by Professors Al Gaskin and Willie Butler. And today, we want to thank our studio guests, once again, Missionary Martha Green, Grandma Angela Carlucci. We want to thank the grandson for taking this on. You didn't have to, but you did. And for that, we thank you. And Kwaku, thank you for mentioning it. You see, if I wouldn't have mentioned it to you, you would not have mentioned it to him. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's how things happen in the world. That's how it happens. And I thank you so much because we got to know a little bit about Grandma Carlucci as a result of you, Kwaku, making that mentioning. I'm going to ask you, those of you tuning in, thank you for those of you tuning in today to the show. Remember to like, share, and comment. Okay. And we're going to end the show as we always do, which is with a virtual kiss. We start out with our left hand and we throw out a kiss. Then we do our right hand and we throw out a kiss. Then we take both hands and we throw the kiss together. And we say that love isn't love until you've given it away. So right now we're going to get ready to give away love, and we want it to go everywhere around the world, wherever you need love. Anybody you know that need love, share it with them. Are we ready? Here we go. Left hand. Okay, with the right hand. And now with both hands. And I think I can play a little music here. Let me see if I can get this music on. Wow. Thank you, Quacker. And this is grandmother's music. This is the lady she likes. Yeah.
Tu, amor mio, che ti ha amato in questo mondo solo io.
Wow. Isn't that wonderful?
Sono stata troppo.
We're learning a little bit about Grandma's personality. This is one of her favorite songs.
Amor mio, che siamo poco insieme, siamo un po' di più. Tu sei tu, io qualcosa che ti arriva da lassù. Amor mio, amor mio, amor mio, amor mio, per amico c'è rimasto solo te.
Yeah, I'm loving it. Thank you.
Ma lui lo sa e sorride, lui ci guarda e sorride. Amor mio, basto io, grandi braccia, grandi mani avrò per te. Stretto al mio seno freddo non avrai, no tu non tremerai, non tremerai. Amor mio, basta io. Na, 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 na. No tu non tremerai. Al riparo del mio amore.
Wow. Oh, that's so wonderful. Woo!
Guarda sul mare il gabbiano leggero che va. Felice, sereno, paura non ha. Guarda quel bimbo che corre.
Oh, that is so wonderful.
Guardagli il
You
viso.
gotta show me how you did that. Please show me how you did that. Okay, we're going to say thank you for tuning in to Queen Mother Speaks every Wednesday, every week, live at 5 p.m. East Africa time. Until the next show, be blessed. We'll see you tomorrow, Thursday at 7 p.m. for Bonga Dada Bonga. And that is Bonga Dada Bonga, Facebook, Bonga Dada Bonga. Okay, Facebook.com/Bonga Dada Bonga. Hear what the women of Kenya have to say who's running for office. Thank you. It's a beautiful day.
Thank you.
Thank you.